Hello, everyone. My name is John Cottrell, and this is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice, and I welcome you all here. And for this practice, like all of our practices, we really just take our time, move slowly, and really part of the intention of this type of practice is to take care of yourself and not push, not force ourselves into any postures or any kind of movements, but really think about being gentle and kind and loving to ourselves. Part of that is using props. And so if you have these props, you may want to go grab them if you haven't already. You may want a blanket. Actually, you will want a blanket because we will be doing some work on our hands and knees. It's just nice to have a little extra softness for your hands and knees, or you might even just kind of roll up your mat. You can just kind of double up your mat if you don't have a blanket handy. You may want to have a couple of blocks. These two will come in handy. If you don't have yoga blocks, just something that's stackable. It could just be a couple of big books, hardback books. So something like that. And really just optional for your Shavasana practice, or even just something to sit on, is a yoga bolster or just a nice big cushion or pillow that you may want to use either to sit on or lie on, but a wonderful piece to have at our Shavasana practice. So once you've got everything, I invite you to take a comfortable seat on your yoga mat. Again, feel free to sit on something soft. And you're welcome to cross your legs or extend your legs if that feels a little bit better for you as we begin. You're also welcome to sit in a chair or up against a wall just as we begin this practice. I'd like to start with some breathing just to get into breath, to arrive in the space and start our practice together. So again, just finding that comfortable seat, sitting up nice and tall, arms just relaxed down by your side. You might even close your eyes or just soften your eyes. You might take a few deep breaths in and out. Just these mindful, intentional breaths. Again, just to arrive in the space. And just continue with slow, steady breaths in and out. And as you're tuning into your breath, just feel how it moves through your body. Explore the sensation of your breath. And if you're able, breathe in a way that you can hear your breath. So that might mean just turning up the volume of your breath or just breathing a little slower and deeper. Beginning to feel a full sense of presence, full awareness, being here in the moment. And as you are arriving in this space, just take note. Notice how you feel. Another intention I like with this particular practice is that even though we'll be moving through poses and sequences, that you really feel throughout the practice exactly the way you feel right now. Perhaps it's calm, relaxed, at ease. And again, as we move through the practice, that you can continue that sense of calm and ease. More awareness about your breath. As you inhale, you might feel your breath rising upward. Fill up your lungs. So that is a deep breath in. Feel that nice expansiveness in the lungs, your chest, your heart. And a slow and controlled exhale. And as you're breathing out, that might be through your nose, it could be through your mouth. You're contracting your abdominal muscles, not very strongly, but just an awareness of your center. It's that feeling of drawing your navel in and back towards your spine. And you'll feel the muscles energize here. Again, as you breathe in, just feel the lengthening of your spine. So you might sit up a little taller, breath rising to fill up your lungs, and your exhale to draw belly in. That's called the abdominal lock. Again, not forced, just an awareness of that exhale and your connection to center. Let's do that a few more times. Go ahead and take 2 more breaths like this in stillness, and we'll begin our moving meditation. Just a very simple flow and movement of your body. When you're ready, an inhale to extend your arms out across the room, and finally reaching up towards the ceiling as you complete your breath in. Then exhale, extend your arms out, let them float back down by your side. And that's one round of breath. Let's do another. An inhale, extend your arms out. There is a bit of energy as you extend your arms. Reach up nice and high. Then exhale, again, extending your arms out, some energy in your hands and fingertips, and then float them back down by your side. Go ahead and continue to breathe and move at your own pace. It might be a nice slow breath in, reaching high, and your nice slow exhale. And as you're moving in slow motion, once again, just paying attention to the sensations that are arising in your body. Feel the lengthening through the sides of your body as you reach into the air. The movement of your shoulders. The energy in your hands and fingers as you extend and reach outward and upward. Lengthening in your spine, the connection to your core. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. And just relax in stillness for a moment. Again, your arms might just rest down by your side. Your hands can rest in your lap. If you're sitting in a chair or up against a wall, you might want to shift and make your way onto your yoga mat now. From here, you're going to take your hands behind you and just gently lean back into your hands or fingertips. And as you take the arms back, also feel the shoulders draw back. You might need to take some effort of bringing the shoulders back so your heart opens, your chest expands, and you'll even tip your chin up just a little bit, not too far. So we're in a seated, mild back bend. We're going to take a nice full breath in, again, feeling the breath rising to fill up your lungs. Much more of an expansive feeling, perhaps a stretch quality across your chest from shoulder to shoulder. Then as you exhale, same thing, draw navel inward toward your spine, not too strongly, just lightly, just an awareness. And several more breaths like that. Nice full breath in, fill up your lungs. Exhaling, navel to spine. Go ahead and take 2 more breaths like this. And after your second breath, just lower your chin so you're looking forward. And then walk your hands towards yourself. And then just resting your hands on your lap again and just feel that nice re-extension of your spine. Come to stillness and just take a breath. That was our mild back bend. Let's take our forward fold from here. If your legs are crossed, you might want to uncross your legs. We're going to go to cobbler's pose or bound angle pose. Just going to place the soles of your feet together. Knees will stay bent. that the knees will be out and open out to the side. Here's where you might want to use some props, books, blocks, or pillows, and you just let them rest underneath the knees. Let your legs just rest right there onto the blocks. And then just hold on to your toes or your feet, your ankles, or your shins, just really at a place where you can still sit up nice and tall quite easily. Then when you're here, and inhale, feel tall in your spine, breath rising to fill up your lungs. Exhale, draw belly in. We start to hinge forward just a little bit, leading with the heart and chin forward. Again, just a little bit. And if you can see me, you can see I didn't move very far at all. We'll do that again. We'll take a nice full breath in, nice well-extended spine at this new angle. Exhale, pull belly in, and then hinge forward a tiny bit more. So this is that part of where we're not moving too quickly or forcefully into our poses. We're really just taking our time. And you can stop at any point, just maybe at a place where you start to feel, oh, there's a nice stretch that's happening in the inner thighs. It doesn't feel like it's stressful at all, that you can easily hold here. And that's what's nice about a soft flow practice and moving the way that we're moving. You don't have to go too quickly into a pose, nor do you have to get to the 100% mark of that posture. I even encourage you to maybe work at maybe 60%. So kind of dial it back a little bit. Just get to a place of just some nice, easy sensation in the body and just hold there. And you'll find that the body responds very nicely. Let's take 2 more breaths. After that second breath, just start to hinge your way back up again until you're nice and tall. I'm just going to turn to face you once again. We're going to stay seated for one more pose, and this is really kind of the theme of our practice. We're going to do some side bends today. So you can keep the legs crossed here, or you can even keep them in cobbler's pose. But you may want to bring your blocks or books or whatever you have on either side of you. And this can add a little support for this next posture. I'm going to do my best to mirror you. So you're going to take your right arm or your hand and rest it on your block. It could be your hand or your elbow, and just rest it on the block here. Just kind of leaning to that side. And then take your left hand or arm and extend it out to the side. So the arm is just parallel to the floor. Inhale to reach out that direction. Exhale. Then inhale, reach up into the air. It doesn't matter where it stops. It might reach right up to 12 o'clock. That's fine. Exhale. Inhale, reach straight up wherever your hand is reaching. Then exhale, as you're able, reach over your head, and you start to kind of lean over towards your right side. And just come to a place where it feels like, okay, now I'm starting to feel that stretch down through the left side of my body. Now, if this gets a little tiring in the shoulder or your hand or even your neck, you can even take this hand that's in the air, maybe place it on your head or even behind your head. Just something that maybe it's a little bit more supportive. And if you do this, I've got actually my hand on the other side of my head here. It supports the neck. And then I just kind of point with the elbow, and I can really still feel that stretch through the side of the body. And to actually make this a little bit more intense, or just to bring a little bit more sensation, I'm mindful of my my left hip, and just pressing into the ground. Now, it's not really moving, but the intention and awareness of sitting down evenly through the hips. Now let's go ahead and re-extend this left arm up, pressing ourselves back up until we're nice and tall. Go ahead and bring that left hand down, let it rest in your lap, and just come back to a neutral position. So really, we're just leaning to the side carefully, slowly, and just taking the opposite arm overhead and getting a side body stretch. So let's do the other side. So the hand, if you don't have a block, maybe your hand is just on the ground, because that works just fine. So your hand can be on your block or the ground, or your elbow resting on your little armchair right here. And then go ahead and extend your left arm. I'm sorry, your right arm. I'm trying to mirror you. Your right arm across the room here. Reach. Inhale. And exhale. We'll inhale, reach up into the air. Exhale. Now you can stay just like this. Maybe this is enough of a side stretch. Or you might inhale again, reach a little higher. Exhale, start to reach over your head, a little bit of a bend or a lean towards your left side. And just keep breathing into the right side. Now we want that right side, that right hip, just to press more into the ground and just adds a little bit more sensation of that stretch. For more head and neck support, you can always bring your hand down just to kind of catch your head. It's like a little hammock, and just let your head just rest in your hand so that your neck doesn't feel strained. And then just kind of point upward and outward with the elbow. Take a few more deep breaths into your right rib cage. So just some nice side stretches. We'll do a few more of these in our practice. Let's go ahead and inhale and re-extend the right arm up into the air. Lift yourself up nice and tall and just bring that arm back down by your side to rest in your lap. Take a few breaths in seated. All right, take your time. We're just going to make our transition. We may want to move some props out of the way for a moment. Just going to make our way to hands and knees. Now I'm sitting on my blanket, but I'm also now going to use my blanket for some padding for my hands and knees. You can use a blanket or maybe just fold your mat if you need a little extra cushioning. Again, this is optional, but it's just something nice to have. And we'll just start in this tabletop posture. Your hips are over your knees, your shoulders are over your wrists, and we're moving into cat and cow. So we're going to inhale and just lift your head or look forward with a little bit of an arch in the back. You're creating a little back bend. You're going to exhale and round it all out. Again, pulling belly button up towards spine. Notice that sensation. Inhale, look forward to open your heart. Feel your pelvis tip back. Create your back bend. Exhale, round your back. Tuck your chin in towards your chest or neck, navel to spine, and just nice fluid motions. Even with these movements, they don't have to be too forced. Don't feel like you have to really push your body into that back bend or even in that rounded spine sensation when you arrive in cat pose. Keep working at 60%. Your body enjoys just a little bit of a break. If you're very used to kind of pushing yourself all the time, always on the run, working at 100% or even past 100%, our bodies, our minds can really revel in that break. And this practice can help us with that. Let's go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. After that second breath, just return to a neutral tabletop posture. Just hold for a moment. Maybe your focus is directly down at the ground or your blanket, and just take a breath. And then if you are using a blanket, just slowly crawl off of your blanket. Let's set it to the side. We will be using that again. So make sure it's handy. Return to your hands and knees, and we'll get set up for our next pose, downward facing dog. And this is how we'll set it up. First, you're going to step your hands forward a little bit, and as you do so, spread out your fingers pretty wide so you feel a stretch sensation between each finger. And then kind of lean into the hands or press your hands a little bit more firmly into the mat, just to flatten the hands and to stretch open the palms. Push so you feel like your arms get a little bit more straight and strong, and hold that sensation. Tuck your toes. Let's do another cat and cow, starting with cow. It's an inhale to look up, create that minor back bend. Exhale, round it out into cat. Hold cat pose. As you hold it, lift your knees and hips up into the air. And this should guide you nicely into downward facing dog. Take a quick moment to adjust your hands and feet if you need to. Settle into the pose for a breath or two. We're not going to be here too long. Then look at the space up between the hands and just start stepping or walking your feet forward. Maybe just to a place where your feet are flat on the ground underneath you. They don't have to reach the hands at all. And you'll end up in a deep forward fold. But from here, we're going to inhale and just slide your hands up to your knees or your thighs so you can extend your spine so it's a strong straight line, halfway lifted. We're going to exhale and gently fold. This can be a complete fold where you touch the ground again, or a partial fold where I am right now. My hands are just resting on my shins. And you can even just release your head here. Just shake it out a little bit. Let's do that one more time. You're just going to inhale. Just slide your hands up to your knees or thighs, only rising up halfway, but extend your spine. Feel the crown of your head lead you forward. We're going to exhale and fold again, maybe a tiny bit deeper. From here, slowly shift your weight back towards your hips and heels. Bend your knees. Let your hips drop like you're sitting down into a low chair. Look out in front of you. This may allow you to take your arms out to the side like you're spreading your wings like a bird. Stand up, straighten the legs, nice and tall. Then go ahead and extend your arms straight up into the sky. Stretch, then exhale, bring your arms down by your side. Let's hold here in mountain pose. You can just have the hands facing your body, or you might even just spin the hands forward in just a couple of breaths. We're just going to do that half salute again. We're going to fold forward and come right back up. Here we go. We're going to inhale, reach into the sky. Good lengthening through the sides of the body. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back and down into an imaginary chair. Let your chest and head come down. The hands can come down towards the ground or your shins. Then inhale, slide your hands up the legs towards your knees or thighs. Extend your spine. Feel that tabletop sensation. Exhale and fold. Let's pause here once again. Just a brief pause. Shift weight into your heels, bend your knees, let your hips drop, look forward, spread your wings again. Reach out, straighten your legs to stand up nice and tall. Reach all the way up a little higher if you're able, and exhale, arms back down by your side. Good, let's hold here for a couple breaths and just notice this nice balanced feeling, centered, aligned, strong. We're going to move into reed pose, and reed is just a side bend, okay? Just a standing side bend. So together we'll inhale, let's reach up into the air. Exhale as you interlace your fingers here at the top. You're going to point your index fingers up towards the ceiling. You can just reach up, but you can kind of keep a softness here. You don't have to reach up too strongly. You can actually let the elbows bend a little bit. You're just going to inhale and just keep reaching or pointing up towards the sky. And exhale, start to tip over toward your right side just a little bit. We're going to inhale, keep pointing up in that direction. Exhale, pull belly in for a little core support and just keep leaning to your right. Now you can stay just like this. I'm going to stay here because I'm feeling the length and stretch that I need. But if you want to go a tiny bit deeper, please feel free. Or if you feel like you've completed the pose, you can always come up and then out of the posture. If you're still in it, just take a few more breaths in the exposed left side of the body. Maybe just one more. And we're going to inhale and return to 12 o'clock, just rising up nice and tall. Exhale, release the fingers and let your arms come back down by your side. Now that's quite a long time just to have the arms up into the air. So go ahead and release some of that tension and energy just by circling the shoulders if you like, Even your little head rolls here, even wiggle your fingers, your wrists, just kind of letting some of that energy go. Because that's that buildup of tension that is common in our bodies, right? But then we know that we have the opportunity to let all of that go. Whenever you're ready, we'll do the other side. If you're still resting and shaking things out, just continue doing that. When you're ready and inhale, take your arms back up into the air. Go ahead and interlace the fingers with the exhale. You can reach up with a little bit more energy or soften it up by bending the elbows. We'll inhale, just keep pointing or reaching straight up. As you exhale, just tip over to your left side. Just a little bit, not too far. Inhale, keep reaching in that direction or just pointing that direction. Exhale, engage your belly for a little bit more support. And if you'd like, just tip over to that left side a tiny bit more. These are very small increments. Again, you're welcome to stay exactly where you are. I'm going to stay like this. If you want to, and you can, go a little deeper without feeling stressed, go ahead and do so. But make sure those are very small incremental movements. And wherever you are, just continue to breathe in that nice exposed right set of ribs, providing and creating a little bit more space. Go ahead and take 2 more breaths as you're able. And we'll take a 3rd breath, a nice inhale to return to 12 o'clock, nice and tall, reaching straight up. Exhale, release the fingers and just bring your arms back down by your side. Then I get a nice opportunity again, just to release that tension. Little slow circles with the head, if you'd like, circles with the shoulders, circle your wrists, wiggle your fingers. If you need to move your hips, maybe side to side, or circles with the hips, or even moving your feet, do that too. Very simple strategies to just let go of tension that easily builds up in our bodies. All right, let's move through our sun salute. Continue to warm up the body a little bit. And here we go. When you're ready, inhale, reach up into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sit back into the imaginary chair. Coming down slowly, maybe touching the ground, or just let your hands land at your shins. Inhale, rise up halfway, full length of spine. Now on this exhale, slowly fold, keep coming down. Bend the knees more so you can plant your hands, both hands into the mat, so you can start stepping or walking both of your feet back to the back end of your mat until you're in plank pose, a high push-up position. Hands are pushing strongly into the ground, straight arms. We'll take a breath in. Exhale, bend the knees a little, then send your hips up into the air. This is our return to downward facing dog. Hold there for a moment. Again, make any adjustments with your hands and feet. Let's move into our lunges. We'll start with an inhale to lift the right foot, extend the right leg back, reach for the wall. Exhale, bend this right knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chest or chin as you shift your body weight forward so your shoulders are over your wrists, like in plank pose. Now just set your foot down onto the mat. Maybe you can bring the foot all the way up to the right hand, but if you can't, that's okay. Set the left knee onto the ground. And then using the right hand, reach back and pick up your right foot and just step it up a little closer towards the right hand. So we're in a more of a lunge because we're going to re-lift that left knee. If the weight of your body is forward, move your hips back towards the back edge of your mat until there's less weight in your hands. So you can easily rise up to your fingertips. And then walk both of your hands up to your thigh. Use your thigh as leverage. Push into the thigh to lift your upper body until we're at a 45-degree angle. Here, extend the spine. And with that back leg, using the heel, press back and down towards the ground so you have some balance. We want to add a little bit more energy to this. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Pull your belly button in. Then from here, take your arms out, spread your wings, reach out and then up into the air as you now become perpendicular to the ground. Look forward. Exhale, just lunge a little deeper. Hold for a second. We're going to inhale and lift the body a little bit, pivot or turn the left heel to the ground as you turn sideways and bring your arms down to parallel. This just brings us into Warrior Two. We're going to move into our next side stretch. It starts with side angle. So first, we're going to reach out over the right leg to angle the upper half of the body. Feel free to bend your right arm and place the right arm on your right thigh, and then extend your left arm up into the air. Now, this really isn't too different from when we were seated and we were leaning our elbow or hand onto a block onto one side with one hand up into the air. And then if you'd like, just go ahead and extend this left arm maybe over your head in the same direction as your right foot. And then that's our side stretch. And just as we did in seated, we were sitting, trying to get the left hip to sit more deeply into the ground. In this case, press your left foot more into the ground. Your left foot, the back foot, as you're reaching through the left hand over your head. That's it. All right, let's breathe in. Nice side stretch. As we exhale, we'll turn towards the ground. Take your time. Fold so you can bring both palms back down to the ground. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Keep pressing firmly into the mat with the hands. Feel the strong arms again. Even feel your hips lift a little bit. They probably won't lift very high, but you're just trying to shift the weight so you can slide your right foot back. So you have returned to plank pose. I like to hold here for a few seconds for strength building. With your next exhale, just bend your knees, send your hips up into the air. This is your return to down dog. Let's do the same thing other side. And inhale to lift the left foot, extend the left leg straight back towards the wall. Your exhale, bend your left knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chest or chin. Shift your body weight forward. Your shoulders will be over wrists. Just set your left foot on the ground. Then set your right knee onto the ground. Use your left hand to go pick up the left foot and just to place it up a little higher on your mat. Ready for your lunge. Relift your right knee. If your weight is forward, just pulling the hips back. And notice how the hands are lighter so they can easily lift to fingertips. And then eventually hands up to the thigh. Use it as a way of leveraging up to this 45-degree angle. Nice extension out through the spine. Anchoring with that back heel. Your right heel just going to press towards the ground. Then squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. They should fire up. Engaging those muscles. Pull belly button in with an exhale. This should support your lower half of the body because we're in a balancing position. Swing your arms out to the side, then up into the air. Now you're perpendicular to the ground in our high lunge. You can sink a little deeper if you'd like. Then your inhale to lift a little, pivot right heel to the ground, open up sideways, bring your arms down by your side, Warrior Two. Make any adjustments here if you need to, just to settle into your pose. Let's get ready for side angle so we can get into our side body stretch. Let's reach out over the left knee to angle the upper half of the body. Bend your left arm at 90 degrees, and then bring that forearm down to your right thigh. Then extend your right arm up into the air. Now, this may be enough for your side body stretch, but if you want more, maybe you can keep reaching over your head with the right hand. And then there's the stretch with your added extra press of the right foot down into the mat. So it really feels like you're moving in these opposite directions. Right foot into the ground as your right hand reaches overhead. Take a couple more breaths into the right set of ribs. We'll take a third breath in, ready to move. We'll exhale. We'll carefully turn towards the ground. Bend slowly. Place your palms on the ground. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press your palms flat into the mat. Strong arms. Lifting the hips as best as you can so you can easily transfer or slide the left foot back, returning to plank pose. Hold for strength. And then we'll gently bring the knees back down to the ground. And if you're able, sit back into hero pose. And if you aren't able to sit in hero, just take a regular seat. This is just an opportunity just to maybe circle the wrists again or roll the shoulders. We're going to get ready for another posture. It's called gate pose, gate. We are going to be on our knees, so you're welcome to use a blanket again or something soft underneath you. So let's go ahead and get set up. So again, I'm going to face you. And you may want to use a stack of blocks. Go ahead and place the blocks on the right side. And just come up onto your knees like this. So basically my hips are just stacked over my knees. And a little bit of a push of the pelvis forward, just so you have a little bit more stability. And the blocks are just going to give you some height, okay? So you don't have to reach down to the ground. I'm actually just going to lean over and place the fingertips on the block so I can extend the left leg out to the side. Now you can turn the leg so your toes are kind of pointed out that direction, or just kind of keep it neutral and sideways so you're on the edge of your foot. Either one. And then rise back up as best as you can. So away from the blocks. So you're nice and tall here. Actually, you may want to turn the toes a little bit away rather than towards me. Maybe you want to turn them away. This might work a little bit better for the hip. And just with this left hand just resting on the knee or thigh, we're going to extend the right arm straight up into the air. Inhale, reach. And exhale, start to lean out over that left leg. Again, just taking this incrementally, just come to the place that feels like, oh, there's my stretch. This is a nice one because not only do you get the side stretch, but you can also get a nice hamstring stretch with that leg that's extended. Again, if you need a little bit of support for your head or neck, you can always just bring your hand down to your head and just let the head just rest in your hands or fingertips. Let's hold here a little bit longer as you're able. Again, with the intentional breathing into the right side. I really feel this down just below the ribs, down near the belt line. And that's where I tend to feel a bit more confined, even collapsed, especially after maybe sitting for a long time. It just kind of stretches things out. All right, let's go ahead and re-extend the right arm up into the air so we can come back up nice and tall and even back down onto the blocks over there. So we can bring this left knee back in and underneath, like so. We're just back on the knees. If you need to rest, feel free to come down out of this pose if you need to rest. You may want to do so anyway so you can transition the blocks to the other side. And then when you're ready, we'll come back up onto the knees. We want to add a little sensation of support just by pushing pelvis forward a little bit. So it feels pretty activated in the upper thighs and that belt line, low belly region. And maybe just leaning over towards the block so you can extend the right leg out to the side. Now you can always start maybe with that position with the toes pointing towards me if you want, or turn the whole leg so your toes are pointing away. And then rise back up, just moving away from the blocks so your torso is nicely perpendicular. We'll go ahead and take this left arm out and up towards 12 o'clock. Inhale, reach up high. Exhale, reaching out over the body and towards the extended leg. Again, just to the point where you start to feel the stretch or the lengthening down through the exposed side of the body. Take some deep breaths. Use your hand or fingertips here to support your head and neck if you'd like. And we'll see if we can stay here a little bit longer. Breathing intentionally into that left side through the ribs. Maybe you feel this down in the hip. Maybe up a little higher, okay, in the latissimus muscle area just below the armpits. And maybe on that right leg that's extended, maybe a nice hamstring stretch. All right, let's go ahead and inhale and re-extend this left arm up into the air as you rise back up. Maybe down to the blocks. Lean into the block so you can bring that right leg and knee back in underneath you. Just come up to neutral for a moment and then go ahead and sit back and down into hero. All right, let's move our props out of the way. So if you were using that blanket, let's come off the blanket. Let's go through another lunge sequence with one more nice stretch for the body. So join me here on hands and knees in our same setup for down dog. Spread out your fingers, step the palms forward, press palms into the mat to stretch the palms, strengthen and straighten the arms. Tuck your toes. Take cow pose. That's your inhale for the little back bend. Exhale into cat pose. Round it, hold it. Lift your knees off the mat. Lift your hips up into the air. Adjust the feet and maybe your hands on your mat so you can settle into down dog. Hold for another breath or two. Feel that nice extension through the spine. That's a little bit more passive, but it's still a stretch through the sides of the body. Now we're going to inhale, re-extend right leg up into the air. You can exhale, bring knee towards chest, shift your body weight forward, and maybe you can bring the foot all the way up to the hand or do that same little exercise we did earlier to get the foot up next to the hand. Once you've made it here, let's balance the body by shifting the hips back, lightness in the fingers so you can easily rise, bring hands up to your thigh eventually, extending the spine. Use that left heel as an anchor. Engage your legs and your belly. Extend your arms out to the side, rise up, reach up until we're in a high lunge. Hold. Again, just this passive reaching into the air. Sometimes we take it for granted because it is a nice side body stretch. Okay, next exhale, we're just going to pivot left heel to the ground, turn sideways, bring your arms down to parallel. You'll be in warrior two. Let's set up for triangle pose. So extend or straighten the right leg. And if you need to, you can even get the feet a little closer together if you feel like your feet are too far apart. And then start reaching out over the right leg with the right hand and rotate the arms. Now we kind of go back to that hamstring stretch, but with this nice extension of left arm, even just straight up into the air and the left foot pressing into the ground, we still maintain that lengthening through the left side of the body. Breathe deeply. This is a nice pose. It really allows us to practice fully extending the body. The legs are straight, your torso for the most part, outstretched arms. To come out of the pose, bend your right knee into a lunge so we can come back up to a warrior two. Hold in warrior two, and then we'll windmill. So this left hand will come up and over, turn towards the front, and then bring your hands down to the mat, rise up onto your tiptoes behind you, press palms into the ground so you can slide this right foot back, hold in plank pose for length and strength. Then bend your knees, send hips into the air, downward facing dog. And we'll just do triangle on the other side. We'll inhale when you're ready to extend left leg up. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in towards chest, shift your body weight forward, maybe getting foot closer up to the left hand. If not, use the same method to get the foot up there by picking it up. Pull hips back, hands are light, rise to fingertips, and then walk your hands up to your thigh. Press into the thigh to extend the spine. Right heel presses into the mat for stability. Add more stability by squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. Pull belly in. Then extend your arms out to the side. Rise up to a high lunge. Even lunge a little deeper if that feels okay. Feel the stretch through the sides of the body as your arms are extending upward. And with your next exhale, let's pivot right heel to the ground, turn sideways, bring your arms down to parallel. Arriving in warrior two. And then we'll set up for triangle. We'll straighten the left leg, shorten the distance between the feet if you want to. Feel tall. Then start reaching out over that straight left leg, angled upper body, rotate the arms. Left hand comes down, maybe just resting on the knee or thigh. while the right arm extends up into the air. Breathe. You might feel breath moving, or imagine breath moving towards your right hip that's kind of pushing out to the right side. Maybe filling up the lungs on that right side, expanding, lengthening, stretching. Two more breaths. Then we'll come out of the pose by first bending the left knee into a lunge, come back up to a warrior two, hold there for a moment, and then we'll windmill. So the right hand will come up and over. Turn your body so you can face the ground, place your palms on the ground, rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Make sure the hands are pressing into the mat, strong arms, so you can slide this left foot back easily. Your return to plank pose. Let's see if we can hold here a bit longer. Then let's bring knees back down to the mat. Sit back briefly in hero, just to get off the hands. Slide off to the side, off the heel, so you can swing the legs around to the front. All righty. We're just going to make our transition to our lying down position as we move into kind of the final part of our practice together. So this is when you want to bring in your nice supportive props, your blanket, your blocks, your bolster, just have them handy. But first, maybe starting by sitting in the center of your mat so you can lie down onto your back. And once you're down, just bend your knees, feet just placed on the ground, and just let the whole body relax. Just let it melt into the ground. We're just going to do a supported back bend, our supported bridge pose. And the supported part just means that we're going to use maybe a big pillow or stacked blocks. So make sure you can reach those. Go ahead and grab those. When you're ready, and exhale, pressing feet into the ground so you can lift your hips and then slide your props underneath you so you can sit on those props. And we've created our little bridge pose, our supported bridge, which is a nice back bend. We can just hold here because we're supported by the blocks, hips in the air, but it allows the whole front side of the body to open up easily. Thighs, hips, belly, your chest. Maybe just take some deep breaths. Even notice here, we're, certainly have passed the halfway mark. We're getting close to the end of the practice. And just notice if you still feel the same as when you began the practice. Do you still have that sense of ease and calm that you started with? Even though we've done a series of movements and some poses together. I think it's a nice reminder that we can be in full motion, going throughout our day. But even as stressful as it can be sometimes, we can still have this sense of calm, ease. When you're ready, maybe another exhale, pressing into the ground to lift the hips so you can remove your props out from underneath you and then come back down to the ground. Go ahead and hug the knees in towards yourself here, and just a little hug. I like to add a little circle here, which helps to release the low back and my hips. You can just hold the knees or hug the knees in if you'd like, or create these circles. Really just an opportunity to do what feels good for you. We're going to do an inverted posture. Just going to get upside down. Just a very relatively easy pose. All you're going to do from here is just extend your legs straight up into the air. Now, if you need some support, you can just hold on to your legs. Just use your hands and just hold your legs. And now that your feet are free, maybe just some circling of the feet. Just kind of loosen them up a little bit. Maybe circle the ankles, wiggle your toes if you can. So let's just start with those lower extremities, the ankles and toes. Just some movement, even flexing the feet, pointing your toes. And if you like, maybe add the knees, maybe a little bicycle pedaling. So adding some movement here. Go ahead and be creative with all of this next little part. Maybe some bicycle pedaling. Here's some other ideas if you want to try them. I like to take the legs straight, but then out to the side, like a big V with the legs. And I stretch for the inner thighs, coming back up, and then even crossing the legs. You can even wrap them up like you're doing eagle pose legs if you want to. Just a little squeeze to get into the hips. Again, just being creative. Or maybe just holding the legs straight up, or you can just hug the knees in towards your heart, whatever you'd like to do. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths. After your 3rd breath, certainly no rush. If you're still extending the legs, that's fine. Bend your knees and then just set the feet back down onto the ground and just return to that comfortable melting type of feeling into the ground. Take a few breaths. Again, no rush, but next transition will be a twist. You're going to hug the knees in towards your body again. And then when you're ready, take both knees over to the left side as you extend your right arm to the right side. And this will create that natural twist in the spine. Notice where else this brings sensation, maybe your hips, your shoulders. Take a few deep breaths here. And when you're ready, go ahead and slowly return to center. Pause in center for a moment, just so that there's this realignment. And then take knees down to the other side. Creating your twist. Hold as long as you need to. And then when you're ready, slowly return to center. Go ahead and set the feet onto the floor, knees still bent. Let's go to reclining cobbler's pose for our final position. So just let the knees open out to either side of the room so the soles of your feet can touch. We'll just hold here for several breaths so you can get a little stretch and release, primarily in the inner thighs, but this may affect the hips and low back in a nice way. As you're taking the next few breaths, just decide what you would like to do for your final resting position. Maybe this is your resting position. You can remain here for the next few minutes. Or maybe you want to move into a more classic Shavasana by extending your legs straight out in front of you. Or bring in some of your props and just set yourself up for a nice restorative posture. Maybe a rolled up blanket underneath bent knees, a couple of stacked big pillows to elevate your legs and feet if you want, or even elevate your upper body so you're more in a reclining position on an incline. So whatever you like to do for your Shavasana practice, go ahead and move into that posture now. Stay exactly where you are. Take a moment to notice your breathing. And as you become aware of your breathing, start taking slow, deeper, intentional breaths. And once again, allowing your breath to move freely and fully through your entire body. Maybe in this gentle practice, you're able to open up some tight spaces. Maybe release some tension. And again, being aware of how you feel now, maybe compare it to when we began the practice. Maybe you feel more calm, more at ease. And maybe you're able to continue this sensation. Take it into the rest of your day. Take it into the next few days. Go ahead and take 3 more deep breaths. And with these breaths, just bringing a little bit more energy and perhaps movement into your body. And as that movement returns, certainly no rush. Take your time, move as slowly as you can, and roll onto either side of your body, even pausing in this nurturing pose, this awareness that you took the time to take care of yourself, the time to nurture and love yourself. And then from here, slowly rising, moving as slowly as you can, returning to a seated, upright posture. And when you've made it here, maybe your arms are just resting down by your side with your hands in your lap, or even bring hands to heart center. Go ahead and take a few more deep breaths wherever you are in this seated position. Now, as we come to the close of this journey together, we bow together saying, Namaste. Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me in this yoga practice. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe so you can be informed about our next upcoming yoga practice. And if you have a suggestion for a yoga practice, be sure to leave me a comment. I look forward to hearing from you. Until then, take care.